Hello, everybody. My name is Neal Mohan. I'm the Vice President of Product Management responsible for Google's display advertising products. And it's a real honor to be in front of all of you here today. We're really excited to share with you some of the innovations we've been working on in this space over the course of the last few months.
Hi there, and I'm Barry Salzman. I'm Managing Director of our Media and Platforms business at Google. So folks, it's pretty simple. Neal gets to make all the cool stuff, I get to sell it. So we have a team of people here from Google today, and we are all really looking forward to having a little fun with you over the next 30 minutes as we share some thoughts about what may be possible in the display business in the years to come. And for those of you watching us over live streaming, welcome to IAB MIXX in New York City.
Great. As you all know by now, display is really front and center of everything that we're working on at Google these days. Just as an example, 99% of Google's top 1,000 advertisers are running campaigns on the Google Display Network. And more importantly, we think that the entire display ecosystem is on the verge of its greatest revolution and most important change in its entire history. It's sort of like moving from the Bronze Age to the Golden Age of display. And as that shift occurs, we think it's going to represent tremendous opportunities for advertisers, agencies, publishers, and users. And in that process, it's going to open up huge new opportunities for everybody working on the display space in this room and watching us online across the internet today.
So there are two words that encapsulate our view of what we think is going on in this display revolution, and they are sexy and smart. So let me start with the smart for a minute. With the rapid rate of technology innovation and exponentially increasing computer power, today we are able to process vast quantities of data in almost real time, making display advertising a whole lot smarter. And now for the sexy piece. Well, that's pretty easy. So Jerry Della Femina, the legendary ad man, once said, "Advertising is the most fun you can have with your clothes on." And it's been a pretty sexy industry ever since. Well, almost. Some might argue that the first decade of internet advertising took some of that sexy away. And I can tell you, it was pretty tough to engage Madison Avenue's most creative minds with static ad banners. Well, today, we're here to tell you that display is bringing sexy back. And we're doing it with high impact, engaging creatives that is really allowing advertisers and marketers to engage with their consumers in ways that were never before possible.
Now, just as an aside, I'm going to leave it up to all of you to decide which one of us up here represents smart and who represents sexy.
You're letting them decide? Come on.
So today we're going to have some fun. We're going to peer into the crystal ball, and we're going to make 7 predictions about what the future of this display advertising industry could look like 5 years from now in 2015. And Randy promised that he was going to have us back in 2015 to see how well these predictions had stood up to the test of time. And along the way, we're going to demonstrate for you some really cool products and features that we've been working on in the display space. And the idea there is to visualize what this future could look like. And so hopefully through some of these demonstrations, we can give you into a glimpse of that future from our perspective. So without further ado, let's move on to prediction number 1. Barry.
So prediction number 1 is all about video. And you folks are familiar with what the analysts that cover our space are saying. They're basically saying that video ads will be the single largest driver of the digital media marketplace. And it's hardly surprising, right? We all know that video offers full sight, sound, and motion. And what that's enabling us to do is create engaging ad units that are completely immersive, and it's helping us start to push the boundaries of creative innovation beyond anything that we know today. So right now, today, the volume of video that is up on the internet is already beyond staggering. Let me share with you just one data point. Today, 24 hours of new video content is uploaded to YouTube every single minute. Those numbers are staggering, and the user base has shown this incredible tenacity to search through that content, to find the content that is most relevant and interesting to them, the content that they choose to watch. Well, folks, we believe that those same principles will drive the development of video advertising and video ad units online. In fact, our research shows that both advertisers and users are demanding video ad formats that give users both choice and control. And folks, advertisers can and will demand to only pay for the ads that their users actually see, the ads that their consumers choose to watch. So our first prediction against this proliferation of video is that 50% of online ads by 2015 will have an element of video in them bought on a cost-per-view basis. So to demonstrate what we are about to launch on the world's largest video destination, I'd like to introduce Shashir Mehrotra. Shashir is the product manager at YouTube and is going to share with us something we're announcing today on YouTube.
Thanks, Barry. Sorry, our computer's locked up. Thanks, Barry. So I'm very excited to be here today and tell you a little bit about cost-per-view video advertising, as well as show you two new video ad formats that we're announcing today. So first, let me give you a little bit of background on cost-per-view video advertising and what we mean. So if you go to YouTube and you search for commercials, we did here, you'll see many examples of ads that have millions of views. Now, I know a lot of us take that for granted these days, but I encourage us to pause and think about that for a moment. For years, marketers have built video ads and tried to force viewers to watch them by bundling them with content. And here, we have many examples of ads that not only do viewers want to watch, they're going out and finding these videos and watching them often instead of content. Now, our journey with cost-per-view video advertising started a little over a year ago when we recognized this trend and launched a product called Promoted Videos. You can see the promoted videos on the right-hand side in the top of these search results. Now, those are all ads that are being paid for on a cost-per-view basis. The product is doing very well. We now have thousands of advertisers using promoted videos, and it's delivering every day millions of advertiser video views. But the real learning with promoted videos was the value of these video views. Marketers often tell us that because the viewer is opting into these views and are so engaged in the video playback, that the value of these promoted video views is often as much as 10x higher than standard forced in-stream playbacks. Now, promoted videos and cost-per-view video advertising have done great for the YouTube search page, but all of you know that most YouTube users don't spend their time on the search page. They spend their time watching video on a page we call the watch page. So what we're announcing today is two new formats, two new cost-per-view formats that are designed for the experience when you're playing back video content. We call these formats the True View video formats. So let me show you what they are. So here's the first example. No, it's not Alf. Imagine you sit down to watch your favorite show. In my case, it's Alf. And we present you with an ad. In this case, this is an ad we call the True View in Slate format. So let me show you what it looks like. So the ad comes up. You have a choice. You can pick one of these ads to watch, or you can watch with traditional commercial breaks. Now, you'll notice that these are all ads from different advertisers, but the important thing is these are all ads that are paying on a cost-per-view basis, only when a user chooses to watch the ad. The second format is sort of the reverse of this format. So as opposed to the in-slate format, where we ask users to choose an ad, this format is called the True View in-stream format. Now, in this case, instead of giving you a slate of ads to pick from, we're going to go ahead and pick an ad and start playing it for the viewer. We're going to look at who the viewer is and try to assess who they are and what context they're in and predict which video ad they'd like to see. So let me show you what that looks like. So this time it picked an ad for Google Chrome. And if you watch up here, you'll notice something interesting. This ad, after 5 seconds, becomes skippable. We think that a user skipping an ad is a wonderful signal of whether or not we picked the right ad for the viewer. And for an advertiser, we believe that advertisers should only pay for ads that were selected to be watched, and they will pay on a cost-per-view basis. Now, these are just two examples, but the broader concept is simple. On television, we've generally made more money by showing users more ads. We used to have one sponsor per show, and now we have 18 to 20 sponsor messages in every 30-minute episode. We believe online video will reverse that trend. We think we can show viewers fewer ads, but get more advertiser impact out of every ad view and deliver higher monetization to content creators. Thanks. Yeah?
Thank you.
Great, thanks a lot, Shishir. So as we've all seen recently, and as the TV advertising industry experienced decades ago, the display advertising space is shifting to an audience buying model for more relevant and effective ads. The most significant trend from a technology perspective in this area is something called real-time bidding. As many of you know, real-time bidding allows advertisers to use data and technology to decide in real time the price that they should pay for a particular display ad, and also what that ad should look like, millions of times over on an impression-by-impression basis across the entire internet. So something that used to take months or weeks to decide and build now can happen in the blink of an eye through real-time bidding. And of course, this allows advertisers to get the best possible value for their display marketing campaigns. And at the same time, publishers can be assured that for every impression on their website, they get the highest amount of revenue possible because the ad goes to the advertiser that values that impression the most. And as evidence of how strong this trend is, in the last year alone, the volume of transactions that occurred on Google's DoubleClick ad exchange more than tripled. So think about that. In a single day, we do more transactions on that ad exchange than all the stock and bond trades on all the world's financial exchanges combined. But this is just the beginning. So here's the prediction. In 2015, 50% of all display advertising that's targeted to a particular audience will use real-time bidding. So that's great, and of course it generates results for advertisers and publishers, but how can you actually visualize the power of this real-time display advertising? Well, as some of you may know, Google acquired a company called Terracent a few months ago. And Terracent uses algorithms to dynamically optimize the creative elements within a display ad across the internet millions of times over on a page-by-page basis using a huge array of signals for that optimization. But instead of me just describing all this real-time technology, let's actually show it to you. So I'd like to introduce David Monsees, product manager for Terracent, to walk you through a demonstration of some of the things that I've been talking about. David.
Hi, everybody. I'm David Monsees, product manager on Terracent. Give me 1 second here. Awesome. Today, I'm here to show you some really exciting technology that's coming out that's pushing the boundaries of display advertising. This technology, this rapidly growing area is enabling marketers to create thousands of creative variations tailored to thousands of signals that come across your entire media buy. That we believe these deliver the most relevant user experiences possible. Let's take a look at how powerful this can be. 1 second. Awesome. So let's say it's 3:15 in the afternoon in New York City, and normally you'd be at your desk, maybe taking a break from work to grab a cup of coffee and check on your fantasy football league. And say in recent weeks, you've been browsing auto review sites, researching for a new SUV that you're interested in buying. With dynamic display advertising, we're able to construct an ad tailored to these signals, instead of delivering a one-size-fits-all creative. So let's see here. So what we see here is a rich media preview page where we're serving an expandable display ad unit that includes a video, image, and message. But unlike a traditional creative, the image, the type of image that we're displaying, the tone of the message, and the context of the video were all optimally selected based on various cues, such as your recent interest in SUVs, the context of the male-oriented football website you're viewing the ad on, the city that we're in, the time of day, and even the weather in the city, including many more signals. So let's take a look at what this ad would look like if it was a slightly nicer day in New York today. So as you noticed, both the messaging and overall feel of the creative changed to the change in weather. For those watching online, and hello to everybody today, let's take a look at what this ad would look like outside of New York in a different city. Let's say a sedan shopper in San Francisco, my hometown, maybe watching shopping videos on YouTube. Know that the vehicle changed to be more female-oriented, relate to the sedan shopping interests, and even the messaging changed to promote features more interesting to a female buyer. With dynamic display advertising, this kind of ad really shines when you leverage all of those signals that we mentioned and use them to create millions of possible permutations of an ad unit like this. For our last example, let's take a look at what we'd see in a lovely Kansas City evening. So as you can see, despite this ad, display advertising technology is definitely not in Kansas anymore. We believe that by combining the best creative elements of your campaign and bringing them to life, using technology like this, dynamic display advertising is pushing what we can do. As Barry and Neal would say, this type of real-time customization is making display advertising smarter and sexier, giving marketers a broader and more efficient creative palette to work with. Thank you.
Thank you, David. So as David showed you, folks, we're clearly not in Kansas anymore, so let's get right back to Broadway with prediction number 3. And that's all about mobile. So some of you in the audience may be familiar with Google's philosophy of mobile first. For those of you who aren't, quite simply, it means that every single thing that we do every day at Google is with the philosophy and the attitude of mobile at front of mind. So you've all heard the pundits speak. They've told us that by 2014, mobile internet users will overtake fixed internet users. So our prediction for 2015 is that advertising will also be mobile first. And by that we mean that the mobile screen will be the first screen that consumers engage with brands across. And they'll do that across phones and other mobile devices. But I want to just let you into a little secret about Google product guys. The stuff that they really geek out over is the stuff that's not yet possible, but maybe someday. So think for a minute about that mobile device in your pocket, right? It's not just a phone. In fact, as many of you know, it is a super powerful computer. And we think of it as having sensors, just like our own. It's got a camera for its eyes, it's got a microphone for its ears, and it has a skin that we can touch. But what it's really doing is connecting us anytime, any place, to the infinite power of the cloud. And at Google, we believe that that has the potential to fundamentally change what display advertising is going to look like. So I wanted to introduce you to our product manager for Google Goggles, Shailesh Nalawadi. What Shailesh is going to do is share with you some super cool but highly experimental demonstrations of what just may be possible with mobile display advertising. Shailesh.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Shailesh Nalawadi. I'm the product manager for Google Goggles. This is a product that lets users search the web using the camera on their phone. Now, we think this product is pretty exciting because it lets users interact with the internet and search for information in a really new and natural way, which is just by using their phone. So let me give you an example. Instead of typing in a query into a search box, I can just take a picture of something that I'm interested in to learn more about it. For example, a landmark that I'm looking at, or maybe even a menu in a foreign language that needs some translation. But let's talk about something that's near and dear to folks here, and that's advertising. Google Goggles should also be able to recognize advertising, and especially here in cities like New York, and particularly here in Times Square, advertising is all around us. It's huge, it's an important source of information, and it's really a key part of the visual environment. So let's imagine what's possible if Google Goggles can recognize advertising. Now, demo, please. What I hear, so just imagine that you're heading home and you have a copy of your favorite Wired magazine with you, and you come across this ad for Scottrade. Now you're really curious. You're wondering, what exactly is this? And let me see if Google Goggles can actually tell me something about what's going on. So I open up Goggles and simply take a picture of this print ad. I don't know if you guys can see this, but Goggles actually recognize this as a print ad for Scottrade. And within a click, I can actually learn more information about this and go over to the Scottrade website. Now, this is an experimental concept, but one that we're really excited about because it's something that we call media bridging, the ability to use tools such as Google Goggles to bridge the offline and the online world. But let's take this one step further and explore a potential way in which this can be used in display advertising. So today we're limited to showing ads that are either on device or offline, such as in a magazine. Wouldn't it be great if you could use tools such as Goggles to actually merge the two? So you've got advertising that's really multi-dimensional. So here's something that we're experimenting with, and this one is really fresh off the labs, so a bit experimental and maybe a bit flaky. Going back again to our magazine, let's continue flipping through, and let's say we come across here an ad for a Ford Mustang. Now, I'm a bit of a car nut, so would love to see what Google Goggles has got to say about this. So just like before, I take my phone and hover over the ad. But I don't know if you guys saw that. Instead of just getting static information, what I've actually got here in front of me is a 3D model of the Ford Mustang that I can actually interact with. It's a bit hard to show here on an Elmo, but as I move the phone around, the model is actually giving me a different perspective. So I can zoom in, zoom out, look at it from a different angle, like what I see. Do you guys see that? Now, let's say I really want to dig into this a little bit more. Just click on the model and trying to zoom in, but it actually took me straight over to the Ford website. And here I've got all the information, specs, pricing, all the different accessories that I can get with the Mustang. All here in the palm of my hands. Now, you guys will notice that I don't have a QR code. There's no special downloads required. And there's really no other special equipment required apart from what's already in your pocket, the smartphone. Now, these are just experiments, right? So let's not get too excited. And there's a lot that we need to do to bring this out. But can you imagine the kind of things that are possible? In the future, you can walk up to a movie poster, just pick up your phone, hold it up against it, and you can imagine the lead actor kind of stepping into your phone and talking to you about this movie. Or maybe you just play a 30-second video trailer. Really, the possibilities are endless, and that's what gets us really excited with technologies such as Google Goggles. Now, at the rate that mobile is evolving, it's going to soon give us the ability to blur the distinction between offline and online media. But more than that, really the part that gets us most excited is the ability to create these new, fun, and engaging experiences that allow our end users to interact with brands and with advertising. So that's some of the stuff we have working. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shailesh. So now we've seen what video advertising can do, the power of real-time display advertising, and the future potential of mobile. But what's sexier than being able to measure an ad campaign precisely and then optimize a campaign based on those measurements perfectly? Of course, precise measurement is exactly what advertisers use to get the best possible results from their display marketing efforts across the web. In search advertising, the click has played a key role in proving the success of that particular channel. And of course, lots of display advertising is performance-oriented in nature, where the click also works really well to measure whether that campaign is successful or not. But as we all know, measurement has been a bit of a challenge in display advertising, especially for display campaigns that are oriented towards the top of the funnel. Lots and lots of display campaigns are about building brands, or increasing awareness, or generating buzz about a new product or offering that's come onto the market. And even for these more brand-oriented campaigns, we keep falling back on the click as the way to measure success. The good news is that display measurement is evolving really, really fast. So here's our next prediction. In the next 5 years, by 2015, there will be at least 5 new metrics that will be more used and much more successful in measuring the impact of a display campaign than the click is today. So that's the prediction about these 5 new metrics. What could some of these actually be? Well, the good news is that some of them actually exist already today. So for example, engagement or interaction rates in rich media ads. Video views, Shishir just talked about that. View-through conversions. And we're already letting advertisers measure the impact of their display advertising campaigns on web search results. That's a direct link between the display advertising campaign and true brand lift, something that advertisers have been looking for a very long time. But even that's just a start. Imagine what could be possible in the future in the measurement space. For example, what if you could use sentiment analysis to measure the viral effects and the tone of consumer comments about your brand, and more interestingly, how that tone changes across the internet and over time as a result of your display marketing efforts? Or as another example, what if you didn't just measure the increase in traffic to your website as a result of a display advertising campaign, but were actually able to, through geo-based experiments, measure the increase in foot traffic, or actually even better, sales in your local offline store as a result of that display marketing effort? In 2010, the click is still the reluctant #1 from a measurement standpoint. But as I said, in a few short years, by 2015, there'll be at least 5 new metrics that are going to prove display advertising to be much more successful than the click that we've relied on until today. So in short, for every campaign that you of course have a marketing goal. And for whatever that marketing goal is, you should be able to measure it very, very precisely. That's what this prediction is all about. So I just talked a little bit about viral advertising in the context of measurement. Let me build on that a little bit in an area that's related, which is social advertising, something that we've all been talking a lot about these days. Social advertising today, to most marketers, means something that you go to one website or another to manage. But I think the most important thing for us to remember in this space is that it's still really, really early days. It's like not even being just in the first inning of this space, but right after the first pitch has been thrown out. And social advertising is not just about one website or another. It's something that needs to apply to all of your advertising campaigns all across the internet. Soon all ads will start to become social in one form or the other. All users will be able to share an ad, comment on an ad, provide feedback on an ad. And the advertisements that we see across websites, on our mobile phones, and in videos should depend on what we shared in the past or what comments we provided in the past. And let me emphasize that this is not just about a couple of ads on a couple of websites, on a couple of image or rich media formats, and using just a couple of social graphs. It applies to all of them, all across the web, across all of your campaigns. And this is what's going to allow display advertising to live up to the promise that we've been trying to work towards for a long time now, which is to move from a one-way communication channel between a brand and its consumers to an always-on, two-way communication channel between a brand and its consumers and vice versa. That's really the promise. In fact, I would venture to guess that by 2015, nobody's really going to be talking about social media advertising. For example, today, when you think of a news website, do we refer to it as a news website where you can share articles, follow articles, or comment on them? Of course not. We just talk about news. The same thing is going to go for advertising. So let's make that prediction. By 2015, in 5 years, 75% of all display ads will be social in nature. And social is just going to become an integral component of every display advertising campaign out there.
So let's build on the social theme when we look at our prediction #6, which is really all about rich media being everywhere. And you folks know that it works. You've all seen the statistics, how rich media outperforms standard banners, right? It outperforms on just about every metric, from uplift to engagement to awareness. In fact, today, we can do just about everything that you can do in a full website within a rich media ad unit. but it's so extraordinary, the results are so good. Take a guess at what percentage of ads that ran over the internet over the last year were rich media enabled? Someone knows the answer. I'll tell you, or this gentleman can tell you, it was just 6%. So our prediction for 2015 is that the static ad banner will become a thing of the past, and 50% of online display ads will feature rich media. Now, we wanted to show you a demo of what this might look like for marketers and advertisers, this intersection of rich media and social marketing. So hopefully you all know at this point that Google is running a display ad campaign called Watch This Space. It's amazing to me how fascinated people are with this notion of advertising. Well, folks, we walk the talk, right? And the best way to show our clients that we believe in it and that it works is actually to use it ourselves. So we're working really hard at Google, investing a lot to try and understand how to make this nexus between rich media and social marketing work for advertisers. And in fact, to demonstrate that, today, we're live streaming this speech into ad units across the internet. It's got about a 10-second delay because our PR department insisted on being able to beep us out if necessary. But let's cut to adage.com. Delay because our PR department insisted on being able to beep us out if necessary. But let's cut to adage.com. All right, so bear with me a second, right? Let's figure out what's going on there. We have our target audience on Ad Age watching a display ad where two guys are talking about a display ad, watching them in a display ad, watching us talk to you in a display ad. So I don't know, we think that's kind of cool. It's kind of this meta-media phenomenon. Let's take a look at another example. Let's cut over to the Wall Street Journal. So I told you we're investing in understanding this nexus of rich media and social. What you can see in the ad unit is real-time tweeting. We have our audience out there that are engaging with what we're saying. They're commenting in real time. They're tweeting. You're the tech guy. Can't you fix it?
That's right.
Real-time tweeting, right? With what we're saying, with our content, you can see it up there without ever leaving the ad unit. So think about that for a moment. We believe that this nexus of real-time, social, and rich media opens up a whole host of new opportunities that we haven't even begun to explore for advertisers. It creates rich user experiences. We have a ton of fun in the process, and very importantly, what it's doing is help drive the overall display ecosystem and let publishers maximize their revenue from display advertising.
So we've talked about a lot of things, and with all these changes, the display advertising pie is growing for publishers. But just how fast is it actually growing? So we all know that more and more consumers are coming online across a multitude of devices, and advertisers are following them there. And through the great work of everyone in this room, we're making display advertising better every single day, which is attracting even more advertisers online all the time. The best estimates put the size of the overall display advertising industry at about a $20 billion number globally today. That's a good start, but we think we need to move away from trying to eke out another 5 or 10% of growth every single year for the next few years, which leads us to our last and perhaps most bold prediction, which is that by 2015, the display advertising industry is going to be a $50 billion market. Google's largest 1,000 advertisers increased their spend by about 75% with us in the last year, generating a lot more revenue for our publisher partners, so we feel incredibly confident in this prediction. So there you have it. Those wrap up our 7 predictions about what the future of display advertising will look like 5 years from now. And as I hope you can tell, we're unapologetically enthusiastic about the future of this space. As I said in the beginning, the growth of this industry is going to represent tremendous opportunities for every single one of us in this room and watching online. We're excited about what comes next and working with you hand in hand to grow the industry and march towards that $50 billion number. Barry.
So our team that worked on this had a ton of fun putting this together, and I hope that you did too. So to conclude, let's go right back where we began. Display's golden age is right before us, and we believe the future is now, and it is both sexy and smart. So to paraphrase the words of Mr. Della Famina, we at Google believe that online display advertising is the most fun that you can have with your clothes on. So please stay tuned and watch this space. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One question, guys.
All right.
Neal, Barry, that was fascinating. I just want to ask you one question. The whole theme of this, this two-day conference has really been about creativity and innovation in advertising. You showed us a lot of innovation and a lot of technological creativity. I want to ask you guys, as you look out over an audience of marketers, agency people, and publishers, what will the capabilities be that, that advertising creatives will need to take advantage of all this? You're giving them a lot of tools, but what do you think they're going to need in terms of their personal skill sets to make the best use of it and make this promise come alive?
So I think that's a great question. And the way that we think about this is that all of this technology that we showed today and some of the experiments that we're working on should be geared towards not making the world more complex by giving, adding other layers of technology through the process. We'd be working to simplify the overall process. So I think the most important things that people in the creative industry are going to need is basically their creative juices. The technology should really just work. The idea is to help people focus on that creative element, spend the hours and the sweat on the creative element, and let technology just take care of the rest, to multiply the power of that 1,000-fold or 1,000,000-fold, like some of the things that we showed today.
Now, I'm going to ask you more specifically, Barry. What the audience, most of these folks don't know, is that in between DoubleClick and Google, you were an extremely successful professional commercial photographer. You shot for Vanity Fair, for other publications. Right. You are a creative person. You are a design professional. What do you think it takes?
Whoa. I think Neal's actually right for a product guy. That was pretty good, right? The real issue,
Remember,
I think,
I make it, you sell it.
the real issue with creative talent is sort of freeing them up to do what they do so well, which is to really engage creatively. And I think, you've said it, as an industry, frankly, we dropped the ball on that, right? For the first decade, not only did creatives not particularly want to see us or find what we had to say interesting, but we didn't engage them. And I think it's really only in the last sort of 18 months that as an industry, we have actively started engaging creative talent. And we need to engage them with the tools and platforms and let them do what they do best, which is create.
Great. Neal, Mohan, Barry Salzman, thank you very, very much. Great, guys. Thanks a lot. See you later.